What's going on, YouTube? This is DJ Knack, your host, Doug Knacker, for all those who know me as Doug Knacker from Hissy Reptiles. So, gonna have a little bit of a delay here with Tim from the Serpent Chamber. He's stuck in traffic, so as soon as he gets on, which should be very shortly here, we'll get rocking with that. But in the meantime, just go over a few things here. First of all, big shout out to Heads and Tails. So far, the only one who's commented in the comment section here. Awesome guest to have on, and says you got a couple of his favorite snakes from Tim over at the Serpent Chamber. So really awesome. Tim produces some amazing ball python combos, some really high quality stuff. So once he gets home, and which should be very shortly, he said his GPS said it should be about 7 o'clock arrival time. So he's just got to get home real quick, bump onto the live stream, and then from there, we'll get him plugged in here. So again, we'll be asking him a lot of really cool stuff, find out some information from him as far as, when he got started and all that kind of stuff. If you guys have questions for Tim over at the Serpent Chamber or me or whatever, feel free to hit us up in the comments, direct a question to Tim or me, or as a group. I know the groups usually get some really good conversation going on the side as well and everything. So as far as sponsors, still don't have an actual sponsor or anything. I am working on a collaboration, though, with an affiliate. So I'll be doing a lot of talking about that once everything is kind of settled up on that. I'm sending some stuff their way. They're going to send some stuff my way. We're going to kind of collaborate on a few things. So I'll once that is finalized and I have the end product, I'll also be offering links to you guys to get the stuff at discounted prices as well. So more on that in the future. I don't want to give away what exactly that entails. But I want to let you guys know also Tinley Park video stuff. I will be getting the Tinley Park stuff uploaded here soon. I actually waiting. I'm going to be doing, I had an interview with Clutch, CLTCH. That is Sebastian from Showcase Serpents. He's the main guy. I did an interview with him over at Tinley. It was a nice 15-minute or so interview, and he discloses a lot of info on the new Clutch website, where you're going to be able to kind of take your collection and maximize what exactly you want to do with it and let other people see your collection stuff and everything like that. So some really cool stuff with that. I was going to kind of add in the other people's like ball python stuff they had on display with the Clutch thing, but I figured that it might actually be best to just to let that video be by itself with Clutch, and then I'll actually have another video or two videos kind of showcasing some of the stuff over at the Tinley Park show. We did JSA Reptiles. Obviously, there was a really awesome special Pompeii, so we kind of talked about that one. He showcased it in a nice, I shoot 4K with all my video stuff, so we're going to be getting into that once I get that stuff uploaded and everything, which should be by the end of this week. This is the last wedding I have until November. This weekend, I have a wedding for my DJ stuff. So once that stuff is done, I'll have a little more time to get some more stuff edited, because I have a lot of stuff that I've filmed over the last few months. It's just kind of getting the time to sit down with my Adobe Premiere, which is where I do all my editing stuff, kind of put the clips together, edit some stuff out, in and out or whatever, do some intro, outro stuff, and then get those videos for you guys so I can show you guys what I got coming up, some really cool stuff and everything like that. So besides that, like I said, we're just kind of waiting for Tim right now. If anybody has any questions, like I said, feel free to hit us up on the stream thing here. As soon as Tim gets in here, we'll get going with the stuff. I'm just going to check and see if he has an update for me here. All right, he's walking in the house now, trying to get to work on the computer. So he should be in here very shortly, and then yeah, so you run into a little bit of hiccups. Again, this is live, so go figure. Traffic's got to suck over there in Tennessee for him. So I guess I've had my share of some sucky traffic situations as well. So but also besides the Tinley stuff, I will be doing a collection update. My collection stuff's been kind of changed quite a bit, and then also kind of dive into what I'll be doing with my next breeding season, and then the last few clutches are being laid. Right now I have 3 clutches in the incubator. 19 eggs total out of those 3 clutches, and some pretty awesome stuff dealing with desert ghosts and clown and scaleless stuff and all that kind of good stuff. So yeah, really excited. Also looking for more people to join me on this podcast. If you're interested in joining the podcast, definitely hit me up. I have a few people I can reach out to that messaged me last time. So yeah, if you have the time and what is a certain day that works for you. Right now I'm just kind of doing this Wednesday thing. Do have a guest getting kind of lined up for Halloween weekend. Nice graveyard edition, I'm going to call it, with Corey Graves from LD Exotics. So that's going to be a really cool one. He's got some pretty awesome stuff that he's working on. I ended up picking up an awesome leopard enchi het lavender albino pos het clown pos het pied male. So he won't be able to go into my projects this year, but maybe late next year, for sure next season. Some really cool stuff, and I had picked him up from Corey Graves over at LD Exotics, and I talked to him today, and we're going to try getting him on for like a Halloween special episode on the Reptiles Remixed podcast. So still waiting on Tim here, just seeing if he's having any issues and whatnot. So Joey's joined the podcast here, joined the chats here. Hey, how's it going there, Joey? Joey's a local guy to me here. He actually lives in the same town, so it's pretty cool. Been able to help him out on a few things and all that kind of good stuff. So hope everything's going good over there, Joey. He actually got the vend at the last Reptile Expo with me here local in the Rothschild Wausau area here in central Wisconsin. So he got to hang out with Hissy Fit Reptiles for a day. Poor guy. It was a lot of fun. It was nice having a table there. My table's right next to Garrick's like every time too. So Garrick and I kind of do that. So all right, Tim had to download a new browser because his current browser didn't support the one to run the stream thing. So again, he should be on here very shortly, so I can stop rambling and all that kind of good stuff. So I guess just if you're hang tight, Tim will be on here very shortly. We'll get into the meat of the topics and kind of talk about some really cool stuff. And yeah, looking forward to getting some more stuff going here with the podcast. I talked to quite a bit of people at the Tinley show. A lot of interest in on people getting on the Reptiles Remixed podcast. So we'll definitely be talking to some people. And it's not on it yet. All right, just sending him a message here just to let him know as soon as he gets on here. We can get rocking. The genetic edit here, making sure Tim's got feeders for his balls. Hopefully he does. We'll definitely once he gets on here, we'll make sure he's good to go with everything here. Joey doing great here. Got a new banana enchi pinstripe clown female. There you go. That'll be pretty nice. Joey's got a cool little thing. She was working heavily with the bell stuff, in the bell stuff, and then like the yellow belly complex. So his whole thing is called Highway to Bell. So like AC/DC Highway to Hell, except his is Highway to Bell. So pretty cool, and definitely like to feature him on something here. Maybe check out some of the stuff he's got going on. Maybe do like a little on location thing over at his place eventually. So Joey, if that sounds good, let me know, man. Nixon Reptiles joined us here. How's it going, Nixon Reptiles? Banana clowns are super pretty. Yes, they are. Some really awesome stuff. I actually have a chance to make some banana clown stuff this year. I have a banana jungle Woma clown male, and he is being paired. I'm sorry, het clown male, and he's being paired to my blade clown female. So chance to make banana jungle Woma clowns, and maybe blade in there as well too. But those are really, really sweet. I don't know if you guys have seen the jungle Woma banana clown stuff, but those things are pretty awesome. Hopefully, if you haven't seen them, I can show you guys if I end up producing some of those. But that's probably going to be an early 2023 clutch, probably be clutch number 1 of 2023 for me, because it seems like she's probably not going to go for a little while yet. She's still got about 22 to 24 millimeter follicles or so. But she's been pairing well with him. Got a good 7 or 8 or so eggs in her. It's kind of a joint little project I had with RMH. Really good stuff going on with that as well. All right, see if any word from Tim yet. Nice little story to probably tell us, right? So he'll be able to go back and watch my my little bit of ramble before he gets on here once everything's good. Hopefully he's able to get on here. So typically, so I sent him the link about 15 minutes prior, 20 minutes or so prior to going live, and he was like, "Hey, I'm on the road yet." So said 7 o'clock, but this is why, it's always nice to do a little bit of pre-show planning and everything. So sorry for the little delay of stuff here. Here he goes. All right, I had to get Google Chrome. It's still opening. All right, so yeah, he's trying to get that open right now. Still trying to open his he said he had to download Google Chrome, a new version of Google Chrome that he didn't have apparently for running this streaming on here. So all right, any questions for me while we're kind of waiting here, so that way I can kind of fill up a little bit of time for you guys? Any questions whatsoever? If you have noticed my shirt here, Royal Ambassador Reptiles, that's Kyle Hoffman over. He's pretty local here too in central Wisconsin area. He has got some amazing stuff. I'm actually hoping to get him on here if I can talk to him about getting onto the podcast. Thing is with him is he's an extremely busy guy, because not only is he breeding some awesome ball python stuff, but he's also running pretty much the whole rat operation for all of us central Wisconsin guys. Big supplier of rats for Garrick DeMeyer over at Royal Constrictor Designs. Provides the live rats that I need. A lot of other live rats in the Wisconsin area. He's kind of all over the place. So, but yeah, he's got a lot on his plate. But it'd be nice to get him on here because he's got a lot of insight. Kyle Hoffman, Royal Ambassador Reptiles. He's been in the game for quite a long time. So if you guys have any other recommendations for anybody, if you don't want to be on the podcast yourself, feel free to, shoot me a message or suggest to somebody to shoot me a message and ask to be on the podcast. I'll definitely be more than happy to welcome other people on, regardless of the experience and like how much time they've been in the hobby. If we got somebody in here that's fairly new and maybe only been in the hobby for a year or so, been interested to see how everything went for them getting in and how they feel everything went in that first year. And then we give our insight for how we've been in here for like me. I've been in the hobby since 2009, so really a lot's changed since I got in, so that's for sure. So I ask him if he needs help on anything here so we can get him in here. Not obviously not the way I wanted the night to start, but at least it's not like last week. Last week when Reggie and I were live, we were actually not even on because I was still on the test. I had a test thing going so I can make sure everything was going all right and running all right on the whole podcast thing. And then all of a sudden we're like, hey, he said, I don't think we're live. So and all of a sudden, sure enough, we're not live. We were actually on the wrong thing. So all right, he says he thinks he's got it. So hopefully we see him pop in here real quick, and then we'll get rocking on the Reptiles Remix podcast, episode number 2. Will's Hella Heat. He is in the house. How's it going tonight, Will? Over Will's Hella Heat. So Will's in a lot of the stuff actually, as in Will, since I got you on here real quick here, I was going to ask you if you'd be interested in doing a Reptiles Remixed podcast, man, let me know. I'll definitely be interested in maybe bringing you on and seeing how things are going for you and where you're at and where you're hoping to be at, in the next few years and all that kind of good stuff. See you in the chats in almost every podcast I go on, and if checking out, like Trap Talk and bullshit and Snakes and the Fat Man. I always see you on all the stuff, and it's like, you know what? It'd be awesome to have Will as the guest here. So if you're interested, Will, let me know. Hit me up maybe after the show, and let me know if you'd be interested in doing a Reptiles Remix podcast as well. Same with you, Nixon Reptiles. Joey, feel free, man. The Genetic Edit. Heads and Tails, all you guys, if you guys are interested at all, just let me know. I would definitely be down for getting you guys in here. So, all right, let me see here. He says he thinks he's got it. About to enter. All right. Once I see him in here, we'll get the show on the road. Get those questions ready for Tim over at the Serpent Chamber. There he is. So Tim is sitting there. He is going to be joining us in just a second. So this is Reptiles Remix podcast number 2, episode number 2 with the Serpent Chamber, Tim Thompson. These are Reptiles Remixed. All right, there he is, Tim Thompson, the Serpent Chamber. How's it going tonight, Tim?
It could be better.
Yeah, that's for sure, right? Yeah, I stalled for like a good, was it 15 minutes or so? So at least we're good to go. I got some good info in for the guys there, and tried to set up some stuff for future, podcasts and all that kind of stuff too. So gotta love traffic, right?
Yeah, dude, hate it in this town.
Oh,
I come from a small town, so like moving here with a bigger town, it's been a struggle, kind of adapting to that.
Sure. I'm from a town of well, it kind of varied depending on what census year it was, if it was above or below 1,000 people in the town I was from. So, so then when I got out of high school, I pretty much got out of that town. Still visit every so often, but not much going on there. Now I'm in a town of like 40,000 or whatever. So, which is still small. To a lot of people think 40,000 is pretty small, but to me it's big.
Yeah, same here. My hometown's like only like 6,000 people.
Sure. Yeah. Speaking of your hometown, so before you were the Serpent Chamber, you were called Mid-South Morphs because you were in a different area altogether, weren't you, Tim?
Yep. Yeah, I was in the Mid-South and kind of in the tri-state area of Arkansas, Tennessee, and Mississippi.
Sure. So now you're straight up right in Tennessee, then, right? Like,
just south of Nashville.
Yeah. So, and I was stationed in Fort Campbell, Kentucky, when I was in the military, which is right next to Clarksville, Tennessee. So that's where I lived, was in Clarksville, Tennessee, which I think it's about, what is it, about 45-minute drive to Nashville, I believe, somewhere around there.
Yeah,
about right.
Something like that.
So I'm not super familiar with the area because I haven't been there in forever. I'm sure a lot's changed and everything, but definitely if I ever head back down to the Clarksville, Tennessee area, knowing that you're not that far from Nashville, definitely have to, buzz on down to the Serpent Chamber, do a little, a little tour of the place, do a little YouTube and whatnot. Yeah. YouTube collab. So before we kind of get like really into like what you're kind of working on and everything, mind telling everybody like how long you've been in the ball python game, or maybe even just a reptile game in general, and kind of how you got started with everything.
All right, so I've been breeding ball pythons since I first started in 2005.
Okay.
And I started with just some normals, and then 2006 I got a pair of het pieds. which
Okay.
I thought they were het pies, but they weren't.
Oh,
Found out that the person selling them was labeling them as het pied.
oh, sure.
Sold those at the end of 2006 because I went in the military. Um, and got back into reptiles in 2015.
In 2015. Okay. Now,
Yeah.
because I remember talking to you quite a bit prior. Like I guess because I got into 2009, and not too long after that, I remember kind of talking to you about stuff, kind of a lot. Like around the time like the whole banana thing and stuff. So you were kind of in it then, though, right? Because you just didn't have like a lot of the stuff because you were kind of rebuilding everything at that point, right? Is that
Right.
something?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 'cause that was what, 2015 or 16?
Um, so I want to say it was before that actually, but maybe I could be wrong because I know you and I have talked quite a bit and have met up at a lot of Tinleys and stuff like that.
Yeah.
This one night I remember specifically, I think you and I stayed up until like 4 o'clock in the morning, uh, sitting by the door, just bullshitting about ball pythons and
Yeah.
other random stuff. I think we brought up a whole bunch of other stuff besides ball pythons. Obviously, I think we were talking
Yeah.
like wrestling and stuff like that. Football and just a
Talking
bunch of other
attitude era.
random stuff. Shooting the shit. So,
Yeah.
um, but kind of ever since then, we've kind of kept in pretty good contact.
Yeah.
I'll be minding my day or whatever else, and I'll get a message from Tim, and I'm sure you'll be doing something in your day. You'll get a message from me, just random
Yeah.
stuff about, hey, check out this snake. Oh man, we gotta shoot for something like that, and yeah. So yeah, so you've been in it for a while, kind of on and off. But you right now you basically just do the ball python stuff, right? You don't do like any other full-time job right now, right? It's just kind of ball python
Right.
stuff.
Yeah. Just the ball pythons right now.
Okay. And
I-
what
I've been doing that since I think March of 2018.
okay.
So a little over
So
4 years now.
Sure. And you were able to do that with not like a crazy huge number of ball pythons, right? I mean, you
Right.
don't have like hundreds of ball pythons in your place right now. You're
Not yet.
I do know you're working on it though. So.
We just expanded.
Sure. So yeah, because you this year you kind of brought in a lot of stuff this year alone, right? Like quite a bit of stuff.
Yeah.
I know.
Here recently, I think we added around 25 or so.
Okay.
And
And
a lot of it was fairly high end stuff.
sure. Yeah, and I know and I had gotten some stuff from you this year. You and the stuff that Tim, like he was saying, high end stuff. It's not like he just brought in like 25, breeder pieds or clowns or whatever, just single or double gene things. I mean, this
Yeah,
stuff is
that too.
well, I know some of the stuff you're looking at like visual recessive of one thing that's het for another, right? Kind of like a lot of that kind of stuff, or
Yeah,
even double
some
het.
double visual stuff. Some other visual things that by combos I didn't have and genes I didn't have that I wanted to add in and see what I could do with it.
Sure. So, I know here too, the genetic edit here, Tim's ODYB Spider Calico at Sunset stuff is awesome.
Oh yeah,
So yeah, see, he's got some like awesome, like some of the Sunset stuff that Tim's working on right now is some pretty awesome stuff. I mean, it's on par with some of the probably more amazing Sunset stuff. Once he starts producing the visuals of the stuff,
yeah. That's
it's gonna be
that's
awesome.
the problem is making the visuals.
Yeah. So, you're kind of like me, odds wise this year it's been kind of hit and miss for me. I've gotten some pretty
Yeah,
cool stuff, and
same
then I've
here.
gotten some total bomb. Like, damn it, I could have gotten a nice couple $1,000 clutch of, not that it's all about the money, but when you look at like for holdbacks, it's like, man, if I don't have to spend $2,000 on a snake and I can make it myself, awesome. But if you don't even produce it because you didn't make even a visual recessive out of the whole clutch,
Yeah,
it's like, oh, now you're looking at like a couple $100 animals that you can sell at a show, maybe, you know what I mean? So, kind of looking at, before you kind of got into the whole, doing it as the only job and, as you were getting into it again and everything, who were kind of like your mentors or influences that you were kind of like, looking, following, I guess, at that point in time.
sure. Well, early on, I watched your YouTube channel. That was like
Sure.
one of the main channels I watched. Garrick DeMeyer for sure.
Yep. Garrick's
When
awesome.
I was first starting out, I bought a lot of stuff from him, and he set aside a lot of time to talk to me when,
Yeah.
as busy as he is when he didn't have to.
Yeah.
I started talking to Kyle and Levance a lot,
Yep. Okay.
and yeah, stuff Levance has is crazy.
Levance is on a level like beyond, I think, any other. He's got he just posted something on Instagram, and it was like, I think it was like a super OD like YB DG clown hat pied or something like that. I was like,
Yeah.
holy crap. Yeah, it's like that clutch is just gonna be like, it's beyond what most of us are even thinking about what's possible in ball python. So
Yeah.
um but yeah, he's got such good insight. Kyle, you mentioned Kyle, you're talking like Kyle Hoffman too.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
I talked to him. I want to say a lot. I probably bother him more than I talk to him.
Yeah, I was just right before you got on, and you can probably go back and rewatch my little intro before you got on and everything. But I was talking about, so I'm actually wearing a Royal Ambassador Reptiles shirt here.
Okay.
So I was talking about how Kyle is just so he's crazy busy because he not only does he breed ball pythons, but he pretty much produces all the rats for all of us Central Wisconsin guys.
Yeah, I
And he's
remember him.
all
He
over.
sent
So
pictures to me and videos of when he was building the facility.
yep.
It's like, man, so that's a lot of rodents. That's a big room.
Yeah, and you know what? The funny thing, he's allergic to rodents too, on top of it all. So, yeah. So,
Yeah,
but yeah,
I hear that's pretty common.
yeah, I've actually, when I was at Tinley, I was talking to some people, and they're like, "Yeah, we just started doing rodents too and stuff." And my husband's allergic to it though, so it's like, oh man, it's like crazy. Didn't realize so many people were allergic to rodents and rats in general. So, but yeah, I'm hoping to definitely get him on eventually. It'd be pretty cool, I think, to get him and his insight on stuff, because Kyle's one of those guys too where he doesn't give you a line of bullshit. What he says is exactly what he's thinking. He doesn't doesn't really try to sugarcoat anything. He's gonna tell you exactly the way he sees it, and whether you like to hear it or not, you know what I mean? So it's
that's something I've always admired too.
yeah, yep. So but it'd be interesting to get him on. So and then and you mentioned me actually. So the funny thing is that when you started watching my stuff, I think I was the Serpent Chamber at that point in time, right?
Yeah, you were.
So at the time, it was funny because I was actually trying to figure out what the heck I was gonna call myself here. And oh, by the way, here real quick here, thanks the genetic edit super chat here, just for having a good podcast to listen to, cleaning rodents. It's awesome.
That's Jacob. That's where I get my rats from.
Okay, so he actually mentioned up here earlier. He said making sure Tim's got feeders for his balls. So so big thanks, genetic edit. Appreciate that for sure. But yeah, going back to the whole Serpent Chamber thing. So I was trying to figure out a name. As at first, it was just I had gotten a bumblebee ball python from Garrick, and that was going to be just a pet ball python.
I remember that too.
Yeah, and well, at the time, Garrick had
that was his open house, right?
Yeah, yep, and he had his open house. So it was kind of like, so I had never been to a Tinley. I didn't even know what a Tinley Park, expo was, because I didn't know that there was like an actual industry and a whole entire hobby of all the ball pythons and reptiles and stuff like that. So I thought you just get snakes from Petco or PetSmart, and that's where you get them from, or people that are selling them online, on like, what is it?
King snake,
Craigslist and stuff like that. I didn't even know about king snake at the time, and at the time there was no MORPHMARKET. So, but yeah, and I might have mentioned this in the last podcast, but my wife handed me a thing saying this is some local expert in the area named Garrick DeMeyer. Yes, he's like this local snake guy. So if we have any questions about the boa we had just bought, we could ask him. And then that's where I looked up his website and saw clown stuff on there. Thought it was awesome. At the time in 2009, pastel clowns were going for like $5,000, I think. And then I think the killer clowns were going for about 12,000.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh my gosh. Then I ended up getting a bumblebee because I thought those looked cool. And next thing I know, I was spending student loan money on ball pythons and stuff like that, which it is what it is. But but and then I was like, oh, I started doing YouTube at that point in time, and I didn't know what to call it. At first it was just my DJ thing at the time was called Shattered Glass DJ Entertainment.
Okay.
And so I just called it Shattered Glass DJ, which that YouTube actually still exists. Because at that point in time, YouTube, you couldn't change the name. Like once you picked a name, that was like what you had to have. So I picked. So I'm like, okay, I don't want to just call it Shattered Glass DJ. But I thought at first it was just going to be me having some reptiles and stuff on there. Then I ended up going to making up a thing, and I'm like, oh, I'll call it. There was actually one. It's called Python Paint Shop, but I didn't settle on that. And then I went from Python Paint Shop. I decided to do the Serpent Chamber, and then I started rolling with that for a little bit. And then I don't know. At the time, I had never seen Harry Potter, and I guess like there was a part like in the second or third movie or something where the Serpent Chamber is part of the storyline or something like that. And everybody's like, oh, did you get it because of Harry Potter and all this stuff? And I was like, no. And I kept on getting people asking me about that. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to like, and it is what it is. I just ended up being like, I kind of want to change it anyway. So I ended up moving to Hissy Fit Reptiles. And then I remember you were still Mid-South Morphs at the time. And then you had moved and you were trying to figure something out. And I believe you basically just asked me if I would mind if you took over the Serpent Chamber name, right? Does that kind of remind you of how it went, or?
No, you recommended it to me.
Oh, is that what? Okay. Yeah. Doesn't say. I know if I go back and look,
yeah, probably. I was going to go with at the time Middle Tennessee Morphs.
Okay.
I was like, I don't know
again?
That. And then you're like, hey, you could use the Serpent Chamber if you like.
Sure. Okay. And then I think you were kind of like, are you sure? And yeah, then
yeah.
Okay. So I knew there was a little bit of.
I went and talked to my wife about it, and she's like, yeah, this sounds pretty good.
And I'll definitely say too, I like your logo way better than the logo I had for the Serpent Chamber. I still have it. Like if I go back to my old files and stuff, I still have like all the old stuff. And I think it was just kind of like a weird, like a grungy type wording. I didn't think I had like a picture. I think it was just like words said the Serpent Chamber. And so yeah, it's and then Hissy Fit Reptiles I've had ever since. And I think that was about 2012. I kind of figured.
Right. Yeah.
I think once I had my first clutch, and then at first the whole Hissy Fit Reptiles didn't have this logo. I actually had a different logo. It was like a cartoon snake that was kind of standing up and had his tongue was part of the Y. So it was like Hissy Fit Reptiles, and then it had like the tongue was the Y for Hissy. And so yeah, it was just kind of interesting to kind of see where I ended up going with that, because then I ended up scrapping that after a while, and then just went with some words again, and I had like a pastel clown as a background or something, and then basically a guy drew the picture. So like if you're looking back here, a guy drew that picture that I work with, and I basically had to give him a normal ball python for that. That's what he wanted. He picked out that one. I'm like, all right. So yeah, but like I said, your logo is pretty cool. I like the whole well, it was from the kind of the Batman clown, right?
Yeah, yes, the one I made.
So Tim produced some Batman shortly after Justin did.
2017.
Was it like the year after he made them, or was it the same year even?
It's about a year. I think about a year and a half after. But I was the second one to make them.
Okay, yeah, I remember that was like pretty awesome. I was like, dang. And then I actually ended up buying one from you. Unfortunately, when I got out of the whole collection stuff, I ended up selling. Oh man.
Yeah, to OTB, right?
I'll be honest, I can't remember who bought that. I'd have to go back and look at that one and see who bought the Batman from me. I know it was kind of one of those heartbreaking ones. It's like all my DG stuff, the Batman, and then there was the Super Orange Dream, the High Intensity Super Orange Dream, Fire Spider that I got from Ozzy. She was that big proven breeder girl and stuff. So yeah, we got Forward Motion Reptiles in the house as well, and Shannon Peck. So thanks you guys for joining us as well here. So, but yeah, so kind of a lot's changed for both of us, over the years and stuff like that. Obviously, like a couple different name changes, a few different collection spots and stuff like that. So when at one point, I know when we were, kind of new into the whole thing, some of the hot projects at the time were like, Mystic Potions and Purple Passions, and then the banana stuff, obviously.
I think Mystic, when I got back into it, I think Mystic Potions were going for about 3,500.
What? Okay, yep, that sounds about right. Now you can get them.
That actually came up to Garrett's place around that time, and I was just kind of like mind blown by the facility.
Yeah,
that's the first like big facility I'd ever been in.
Sure. Yeah, Garrick's facility is pretty nice. I mean, I
Yeah.
go there now every week because I get so Kyle brings the live rats there. So instead of bringing them to my place, because it's only like one little cage or one little like tub of rats, I don't get a whole lot of live from him. So I basically just head over to Garrick's, which is about a 10-minute drive, 10 to 15-minute drive for me to get to his place. Usually that's because of traffic and stuff.
Yeah.
And then so I'm there every week, and then I end up if Garrick's there when I get there, I always plan on getting in and out, but then Garrick and I end up talking, So and then check out this clutch that just hatched. Check out this. It's like, oh man, it's so much eye candy in that place.
Yeah,
It's awesome
he's one of
stuff.
the nicest guys in the hobby for sure.
Oh, definitely. Garrick is a pleasure just in general, and it's one of the guys that you don't have to worry about him, pulling any bullshit on you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's a really straight shooter. He's um, in my opinion, one of the most honest guys you can ever run into and experience dealing with in this hobby for sure.
Yeah.
Especially for somebody on that, with that many animals and stuff like that and dealing with
Right.
it. So, we got some more people joining here too. Is it Kaiju Constrictors? Kaiju? It's a pretty cool logo. That's pretty wicked.
Yeah.
So, and always, yes, Nixon Reptiles. I always like Garrick's videos. Garrick's videos are awesome because, so first of all, every video Garrick shows could be something completely different from the last video. He can show you a new clutch every week almost, and it's something different all year round. Where this is where I run into my issues with making YouTube video and content and stuff, is I feel so bad because I don't make a lot of content, and I know you can relate to that. But it's like, man, I have like my collection right now is only like man, what am I at? Like 40 some, almost 50 if you count the holdback stuff from this year maybe. And with all that stuff being said, I just feel like I'm showing the same stuff over and over again. So that's why I kind of have a kind of an issue with showing a lot of videos with the snakes I have.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I want to do a collection update because I feel like it's changed enough over since the last update, which was kind of I think earlier this year, like around like end of early spring or end of winter maybe it was.
Yeah.
And so, but no, Garrick's got so much stuff there, and he'll go, this just hatched, and it's got this is like a lavender albino pie. This one's got yellow belly, and this one's got like a crazy bunch of stuff in it, and it's like nice, really cool stuff. So, looking at like your plans and what you kind of got going on, what you like you said you've kind of rebuilt a little bit and everything. What are some of the major projects that you look at as kind of like your stable of the Serpent Chamber?
I'm probably about 50% of my stuff is clown.
Sure.
I'm pretty hot and heavy on that.
Sure.
I got a few pied things. Went heavy on. Well, I bought a visual puzzle in I think early 2018, late 2017, somewhere in there.
Mhm.
I went heavy making a bunch of heads there.
Sure.
Been working with some Ultramel. Went heavy on Desert Ghost.
That's some pretty decent sunset stuff too, or het sunset.
Yeah,
stuff
and sunset stuff too.
But you've made visual sunset stuff too, right? I believe.
Yeah. Which I've only made one combo. That's how my luck has been. Like I wanted to make just some regular Orange Dream sunsets, but I made OD Spider sunsets every single time.
Gotcha.
But going forward, I'm working on super asphalt sunsets and freeway sunsets.
Those would be cool.
Let's see what else. Working calico into it pretty heavy, which I held back a couple things from that. Going to try to see what calico will do with it. See if it'll bring a lot of those extreme oranges into the like the color of it.
Sure.
See if it kind of keeps it from browning out as much as an adult.
Now you've seen some of those like calico orange dream and super orange dream calico combos and stuff, right? I imagine if you get something like that in with sunset, that would be pretty poppy, and I think that you get some pretty amazing looking stuff out of those.
Yeah, which my goal we'll see if I can hit the odds. But
Yeah.
my goal is to do Orange Dream Calico Yellow Belly Sunset, is to make that, which I got a trio to make that combo.
Okay.
But going back to stuff I'm working with, I'm starting to divert more into double and triple recessives. So I got some stuff for DG Clown, DG Pied, Exanthic Clown. I bought a Exanthic Clown male from John, JD Constriction.
Yep.
Recently got a Clown Pied, which I was just going to try to make some double heads. But went ahead and bought a visual male and then got a couple double head females to grow up. Working on Desert Ghost puzzles.
Okay.
That's one.
That's to be, yeah. I know Ozzy's been releasing some pictures of some of the Desert Ghost puzzle things, and
yeah,
those look pretty awesome.
Yeah, the first one I had seen was from Will up in Canada.
Okay, yep. Over
Royal Canadian Reptiles, I think.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yep, Will Morez.
Yeah, I think he made like a pastel Desert Ghost puzzle. That was like one of the coolest snakes I've seen.
Yeah. Well, first of all, pastel and Desert Ghost, anything is like awesome. Yeah, you start adding those other genes like puzzle and stuff like that into it. It's like, it takes it kind of that next level,
Yeah, for sure.
That's where I know there's still people on there. I've seen people still be like, oh, pastel, like you still gotta get rid of that. It's like not that great of a gene, and it's like you work it with the right stuff. I mean, even without Desert Ghost, there's still some pretty cool combos that it's just you just don't want a snake that browns out. I know I get that, and certain pastel combos brown out so much, and I know people try to get away from that, but you can get some stuff in there without putting the Desert Ghost in there. Even some of the Kodam stuff, you start putting a decent amount of the Kodam genes together with it, and you can make some pretty awesome looking pastel stuff. And
yeah, for sure.
I have a super pastel fire, and she is het clown and possible het genetic stripe, and she's like 400 grams now, getting close to 400 grams, and she is extremely bright yet. So it's like, and I've seen some super pastel fire stuff where it's like, okay, it starts to kind of brown and everything, but she is still like popping. So when I do my collection thing, I'll be showing her off and everything, but that was just kind of, I don't know if it's just a better line of the pastel or whatever, and maybe just line bred over the, you hold on to the best things, right? Usually people hold on to their best, and then they sell the other stuff, and then whoever buys that, doesn't mean you're never going to make good looking stuff if you buy like a little bit less of a quality, because eventually that thing might make it, all of a sudden you might get like you might let's say you buy a pastel combo, and it's like, okay, it's definitely not the best from your holdbacks and stuff. You hold back other stuff and you sell that one. Somebody might buy that. It's like, okay, it's not as bright or whatever, but that doesn't mean that it's not going to make something bright down the line.
Yeah,
you never know.
That's,
it could.
That's like the pastel leopard Desert Ghost that I have. You've seen pictures, right?
Yeah. Yep. You posted some not too long ago on Instagram, right?
Well, I think it's been a little while since I posted her, but the sire to her, he was a pastel leopard het Desert Ghost.
Okay.
He was pretty brown, but he made some of the nicest like leopard Desert Ghost stuff that I've seen.
Okay.
And she's like white and like neon yellow.
Okay, yeah, let's see if I can find it here. I have actually your Instagram pulled up on
it shouldn't be too far back, because I post on like waves, so I'll post a lot, and then like I'll figure like, well,
I have your pastel leopard Desert Ghost female up here.
Yeah, that's her. That's the only one I have.
That'd be the one. Let me share that real quick here. So I just gotta find out where exactly. There we are. And we'll do that right there, right?
Yeah. No, I think that's May of what, 2021? Is that right?
Yeah, May of 2021. So
okay.
So this pastel leopard Desert Ghost female. So
yeah,
man,
she's actually brighter than that now.
So yeah, and that's one thing that's awesome about the Desert Ghost stuff is like it intensifies as it gets older, usually,
Right.
anyways. I guess there's probably certain circumstances where maybe it just kind of stays the same, but typically you're not going to see a desert ghost get worse looking. It'll
Yeah.
either kind of stay at least what you're seeing it as, at one point in time in its life cycle, or it's going to just keep getting better with every shed. So
Yeah, that's the best part of it, because when they're babies, that's the worst they're ever gonna look.
right, right. So yeah, and it's just I've seen some really crazy stuff too. I've had some people, I've seen people share stuff with the desert or even other genes too, but um, one in particular, I first remember who the heck it was now, but basically, as it got every shed, it like almost like it started getting like it wasn't losing the yellow, but it was like intensifying it. Almost by the time it was an adult, it almost looked axanthic, but it wasn't axanthic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, I can't remember who the heck it was though, but yeah, and I also have seen that with other stuff, non-desert ghost stuff too. So
Yeah, I know somebody that they made a bumblebee, and over time it turned like it looked axanthic, like it turned gray.
sure, yeah. I know too. Sometimes like um, oh, and you know what? Actually, so Joey, he was on here earlier. I'm not sure if he's still on here. Um, this guy here, he actually bought a snake from me. It was a pastel Enchi yellow belly. I believe that's what it was. If I remember right, that's quite a while ago. But that thing like lost all of its color. Like
Huh,
it was an adult when he bought it from me, but as it kept shedding and stuff, all of a sudden it started losing its color, which is really insane.
that's
Um,
pretty cool.
so Joey, if you're still on, if you want to shed some light on that, I'll definitely pull up your comment and then you can maybe let us know how it looks again. But yeah, he sent me pictures and stuff, and I was like, wow, it doesn't even look like the same snake. He's like, yeah, that's the snake though. So um, here's the genetic edit has a question here for you, Tim. Any double het sunset puzzle stuff coming?
No, not yet. I'll work on it soon. That was one of the things I've been thinking about for a while, but all I have right now is the puzzle head hypo male,
Okay.
and no adult sunset females right now.
Okay.
So it's gonna have to wait.
Wait a little.
Yeah,
It's on your back burner,
something I
actually.
want to buy right now either.
On your to-do list, right?
Yeah.
Here are two kaiju constrictors. Sunset's bonkers. Wish I went to Tinley to see the sunset albino in person. So I'm not sure if you're talking about the sunset lavender albino. I believe that's what it was that Brad Boa Reptiles produced. I can't remember if it was albino or lavender albino, but I did an interview with Kevin over at Brad Boa Reptiles, and they actually didn't bring it because I can't remember the reason. He says it in the video that when I interviewed him and stuff, they didn't bring it to Tinley actually. So it's kind of a bummer, but man, that thing was awesome. If you guys saw it on Instagram, or if you didn't see it on Instagram, definitely check out Brad Boa. So that thing was like pretty insane looking. So it'll be interesting to see how that thing ages. And then yeah, so he said HB Reptiles made a regular albino sunset. Okay. I didn't see that. Gosh darn it. That sucks. The thing is at Tinley, you can walk around there 20 times and still miss shit. Like, I swear to God,
Yep.
I saw stuff on Sunday before I was ready to leave that I'm like, I didn't see this the day before. Like, where the hell, So, thing is, I know, you run into people, you start talking, and next thing you know, you're walking and talking and you're walking past stuff. And it's like, the thing is, there's so many ball python combos there too. It's like, you're looking at stuff and you're trying, if you're ready to buy something too, a lot of people, okay, either they have something in mind that they want to buy, or they're like, okay, I got some money to burn. What can I maybe fit into my projects I got going on? So they're kind of skimming through stuff. But for me, I didn't go there planning to buy anything, ball python wise anyways. I was just kind of looking at, interviewing people and all that kind of stuff. And that pisses me off. I missed out on the albino sunset there though, because that sucks. I swear to God, I went to HB Reptiles table, but maybe I missed them.
Actually got a snake from him.
Yeah.
Month and a half ago or so.
Okay.
That Hurricane Clown.
Okay. Hurricane. See, that's the thing. Hurricane stuff is pretty awesome stuff too. With
yeah, I kind of stayed on the sidelines of that for a while just to kind of see
the whole like with the hurricane and trick and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, which I mean, I still think they are.
But kind of like on the same lines of same, but kind of like a better quality versus kind of like acid versus static versus confusion, right? You're
Right.
kind of
Yeah.
pretty much the same, but you're still kind of getting a little bit of, you know, quality. It'd be like if you're choosing between 1080p, 720p, and 480p, right? Kind of, but like, you know what I mean? You're not, but then you add Desert Ghost, and that's your 4K.
I waited for the right combo, which I was looking for a Hurricane Clown, but I was waiting for the right quality. And once I found it, like I had to get it.
Sure. I mean, that's the thing too. You're looking for a certain kind of snake, or you're looking for a different certain combo, and it's like, you know, there's times where you feel like you missed out, like, oh shoot, you're gonna like, I'm gonna go buy this one, and then you go on MORPHMARKET, and it's on hold or it's sold.
Yeah.
It's like, oh damn it, I missed out.
That happened a lot.
But then all of a sudden, like,
can you pull up a picture of that Hurricane Clown?
Probably. Is it on your Instagram or?
Yeah.
Okay. Is it pretty close to the top or?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, should be like August, early September time.
Okay, let me see here. Your mahogany clown. Oops, my mouse is kind of going a little faster than there it is. So he's kind of like a little video of it, right?
I got a picture.
You have a picture of it too.
Yeah, it should be about 6 posts before that.
Okay. There it is. Okay. Go ahead and share this real quick.
Yep.
That's the one, right?
Yep.
All right. So there's the Hurricane Clown male that Tim has. So yeah, it's really cool. First of all, even though it's more of a pattern thing, it still kind of messes with the color too a little bit, right? So, and I did see some Hurricane Clown stuff at the Reptile show at Tinley, but definitely, you know, I want to get into it eventually here. So I'll definitely have to keep an eye on what you end up producing and stuff like that. Now, how much Hurricane do you have in your collection right now? That's it right there.
Yeah,
but it's a male, so obviously, you might be you could possibly looking at making some stuff here as soon as next year, possibly then, or you know, late next year, or next season, probably for sure.
Yeah.
So how big is the male now? I mean, that's a baby picture, obviously, but which is recent, but
yeah,
a couple hundred grams.
He probably packed on probably another 100 grams or so
since the picture. Okay.
Yeah, he'd probably eat anything.
Okay. So I'm gonna see. Joey said he's gonna send me a picture of that of that. So I'm gonna show you guys. This is the Enchi pastel yellow belly, right? So I'm gonna pull this back off, and I'll just hold it up to my. It'd be easier for me to just do it this way. So this is how that snake looked when I sold it to him.
Okay.
Right. So then this is how it looks now.
Oh, wow.
So it like lost all of its yellow. Right.
That's pretty crazy.
So, yeah, he sent it to me. He's like, hey, is there anything else I should be? Holy crap. So this is a picture he just sent me of it, which looks like a stormtrooper dang.
Yeah, it does. That's what I was thinking.
So, yeah, I'll have to definitely. It'd be interesting, like I said, maybe get Joey on here eventually and just talk to him about it. But yeah, so it's really insane. And like I said, it wasn't like it was a baby when I don't believe it was a baby when I sold it to him anyways. I'm pretty sure it was an adult, but either that or it was one of the babies I did produce, and then it was from that though. So I'll have to get some more clarification because it was kind of a while. That was actually a couple years ago when he actually messaged me about that, and I was just getting out at the time. So, but yeah, it's just really insane how the transformation of some of these snakes can go, you know, and it's, you know, you're looking at what it is and what you have, and then it kind of makes you second guess yourself later on, you know.
Yeah.
So you kind of tapped on some of the stuff that you're working on. Is there anything that you don't have in your collection right now that you'd like to maybe add in the near future, or maybe within the next year or two?
Yeah, I've been looking at lace a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to get that added in to my clown stuff.
Yeah, lace is
Kind
one of those things.
I was doing my expansion, like I planned on getting something with lace.
Yep.
But I kept finding other things like, well, that looks pretty cool. I'll just go ahead and get it.
Okay. Yeah, lace is so with what I have right now, and I won't really be able to add any more this year probably. but next year it's like, okay, I got kind of I said a little bit of a wish list for next year. Obviously, hopefully I can produce some stuff and either make some sales with it to buy other stuff or do some trades and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, definitely would like to add. Redhead is one of the ones I'd like to add. I think you have Redhead in your collection now.
Yeah,
right?
Redhead clown female.
So that's really awesome stuff. Redhead clown stuff is really cool. I haven't really, me personally, just because I don't go on a lot of stuff. I'm not constantly on the social media and everything to see, but I haven't seen a lot of non-redhead clown stuff. Usually, everything I see redhead, it's attached to clown, and combos are pretty awesome. But I did see a few redhead combos without clown in them, but I think they're all het clown at like Tinley and stuff like that. But
I'd be curious what Redhead will do in puzzle.
Yeah. Redhead, and then like I see here Kaiju Constrictor say Redhead and Stranger are top 2 on his list. I'd be interesting to see Stranger in puzzle, I think, because it's like it already kind of messes with it's a major pattern kind of influencer, and maybe throw something like that into puzzle, and if you start throwing like clown and all that kind of stuff in there, might be pretty interesting. And Will's hella heat here. Speaking of lace, just fed my girl, but man, she is so amazing to look at. Yeah. So
funny story about Redhead. I don't even remember what year it was. It was like 2017 or 18.
Okay.
I don't remember. But I was talking with a guy and he had Redhead in his collection, which I had already knew about Redhead, but I'd only seen like the base gene.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, maybe it's not for me right now.
Right.
And I can't remember his name, but he was getting out of ball pythons. And he's like, hey, if you want this Redhead, I'll sell it to you for $250. I was like, I kind of want to get this other snake right now. So I was like, I'll get back with you. And somebody else ended up buying it. Yeah. Been kicking myself on that one.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I was thinking about that the other day. There's a lot of genes I passed up that I'm kicking myself on right now. It's like I saw it and I'm like, oh man, I just don't know. Like I remember when there was Wookiee stuff being posted quite a while back, actually, like years and years ago. And I'm like, I don't know, that stuff's pretty neat. And I talked to some people like, it's okay. Like, I don't see much potential in it though. And it's like, yeah, I don't know, probably not neither. It's kind of, it wasn't like crazy expensive or anything, but I mean, it wasn't like super cheap neither. It wasn't like, a couple $100 range or anything. I think it was, you can get a Wookiee for like $1,000 or something like that. Or maybe it was around that range. And I'm like, oh, it'd be kind of cool to get something that looks kind of neat, and then I ended up passing on it. Granted, everything I wanted to get back then anyways, I probably wouldn't have anyways because of the whole collection sale I did. So I guess at this point, it doesn't really matter anymore. But yeah, Wookiee was one of them. I always thought chocolate was a horrible gene until I started seeing it in clown. I remember having conversations with people about chocolate. And I'm like, it's just a dirty looking snake. I don't know why. And we're trying not to make brown snakes when they get older. And here we are getting them like that when they're babies.
But Spot Nose was similar too, and you couldn't even hardly give them away.
Right.
Until the Spot Nose clown was made by Ben.
Yeah. There's so many, I feel like clown is pretty much just like you just got to start putting stuff in clown to see how it looks. And if it looks awesome, you're onto something basically. But yeah, the I remember seeing some of the chocolates I saw were like bumblebee chocolates, and it looked like a dirty bumblebee. Like it's like you want a yellow bumblebee, don't you? I'm like, these are like just brown looking bumblebees, and they're not even 100 grams, so it's like that doesn't look good. I'm like, that's the horrible gene. And then you see it with like a lesser chocolate, and I'm like, this looks like a dirty lesser now, and all this sort of stuff. And I'm like, I just don't know. I don't see the appeal of chocolate. And then all of a sudden, right combos come into play. It's like, gosh, chocolate's awesome. I wish I wouldn't have passed on it and overlooked it. So I think there's a lot of genes that a lot of us overlook, and so
Speaking of genes that got overlooked, have you got your mystery girl yet?
yes, I did. I do have it. And that, yep. So Tim's talking about, we both kind of got in on this project, which we actually don't even know what's going on with it yet. So unless you know some of them more than I do, but
it's definitely something though.
Something's up with it. It's an interesting looking thing. A mystery thing, and it from Chandler Hatfield. And he's
great guy.
he's got awesome stuff. I'm actually hoping to get him on the podcast here eventually. I kind of talked to him, and he said that a lot of stuff with weekends being busy, and during the week his kids in school, and it is kind of hard to get on the podcast and everything, which is why I'm pretty flexible like when I schedule this stuff, because I don't want to limit people to just Wednesday nights or just whatever nights. Same time, trap talk and bullshit and Sinks and the Fat Man all kind of have their set times, and I really don't want to do it on the same times that they have their stuff on. And I already feel bad stepping on some of the other guys' toes who might have, like the other podcasts going on. I think there's actually one going on right now. Like GP Snakes has one, and it's got some good content and stuff. There's so much reptile content on YouTube. There's just no way of possibly watching all of it.
Just like ball pythons, there's something for everybody.
Right. So, I mean, if you guys are, enjoying Hissy Fit Reptiles and Reptiles Remixed podcast and Serpent Chamber and all that kinds of, we definitely appreciate it, because, you could definitely be watching something else, and you guys are kind of hanging in with us, and watching stuff, and I appreciate all the support, and I know Tim does too. And kind of to jump back into the topic of what we were just kind of talking about with some of those genes that you might pass on and all that kind of stuff. Is there, besides the redhead gene, is there any other gene that you like might have passed on initially that you kind of wish that you wouldn't have, or is that mainly the big one that you?
Let me think. Man, chocolate was definitely one that I passed on, which, like you said, like I didn't like it at first until you started seeing some of the clown combos come out.
Right.
Wookie, that was another one, which I'm about to get actually next week I get a Wookie combo in.
Nice.
I kind of slept on that for a while, because my original thought was like it's too similar to chocolate.
Okay.
But then you start seeing the combos. It's like, okay, they're probably just a Lilac then.
Right.
Which I have a Wookie spot nose yellow belly het clown male. It's breeder size.
Okay.
So hopefully get him to work this year on some stuff, and
yeah, that'll be a nice one.
Yeah,
it could be really nice actually, depending on what you throw it to and all that.
Yeah. But right now, the plan is to put him to an Inchy clown.
Okay.
And then a fire leopard clown.
Okay. Yeah. You can.
That's the only ones I have left available to breed.
Sure.
Everything else is already set.
Yeah. Well,
which I've split my season this year, so I'm breeding. I started breeding half in September.
Okay.
I'll start the other half in January.
Okay. Are you like me, where you have your plans set in stone, and then you throw the stone away and get another stone and start making new plans? Kind of like, oh shit, I guess I might do this instead now. It's like, oh,
I still write my stuff down in a notepad.
Yep. I actually I use I have my Samsung, the notes or whatever, and I started putting everything in there. So I have like my collection stuff in there, which I'm hoping actually once I get into that, I sign up for that beta for Clutch. Interesting to see how that is. I feel like that's going to be a really, really interesting website, or if they end up doing an app with it, probably, I'm not sure, but just to kind of keep everything organized and situated, and you can kind of like get an idea of what might be some of the better pairings. Like, oh shoot, I didn't see that I can possibly make this stuff if I pair this male with this female, kind of thing. So, and that's one of the videos I'll be uploading with from the Tinley interviews I did, which was a pretty interesting take on it. So I'm looking forward to that. Got hit up on this question here, or not, the comment I should say, from Will's Hella Heat, trying to get rid of your weirdo OD. That's Super Pastel, or Het Puzzle Boy, and get some better females, and I know I'll kick myself later. Yes, you probably will because so that's like the weirdo stuff that Ozzy is working with, right? I believe that's Ozzy was working with he calls it weirdo.
Yeah.
And yeah, because you know what's gonna happen. All of a sudden you'll get rid of it, and all of a sudden there'll be some crazy stuff with some really weird combos, and you're like, oh damn, I should have held on to that.
That's the thing. It only takes one combo to set a gene off. I
Yep.
mean, look at Red Stripe when people saw the Pompeii.
Yep.
Like I remember there was like nearly 300 red stripe or snakes with red stripe on MORPHMARKET.
Yep.
And by the time the weekend was over at Tinley, there was like under 50.
Yeah.
Yeah, people
Yep.
went on there and just bought everything.
Yep. It's funny. I actually bought my red stripe male. He was almost a breeder male by the time I had him. He was actually on the table for like the silent auction. So
Okay,
it was a red stripe male. I think he was
that's
like
right. Yeah, I was at that show with you.
yeah, I think he was like 400, maybe 450 or 500 grams at a time. And I think it was from Mark Petros Reptiles. He had it on the table, red stripe male, and I got him for $90. It was like it was sitting at like 60 for a while. Then somebody put 70 and I put 80, and then they put 85 or whatever, and I put 90, and like, sweet.
Yeah,
And I ended up getting it. And,
that's the that's the show where remember I was trying to get the carpet python in the
oh
silent
yeah.
auction.
Yep.
Yeah, the guy he kept going up like 1 penny on me every bid.
So yeah, I can't remember.
I just gave up on that one.
Yeah. Speaking of carpet pythons, real quick here, you have a few other species that you have that you not necessarily like breeding, but you have some pretty interesting ones. I know you've sent me some pictures of some of the stuff that you're you kind of have just kind of floating around in your reptile room, right?
Yeah, I got a Womo python,
Okay.
and then I got a Madagascar tree boa, and then a Dominican red mountain boa.
Okay. So what's your favorite out of them? I mean, besides the ball python stuff, non-ball
Oh,
python, I guess, what would you like?
has to be between the two boas for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, the Madagascar tree boas. That's probably one of the coolest snakes that I've ever been around. Um,
sure.
the Dominican red mountain boa. She was like kind of a muddy brown when I got her,
Yep.
and now she's like blood red.
Really, that's awesome.
Yeah,
I think I might have
yeah.
seen.
Sansania. Somebody commented
Oh, yep.
asking Sansania down there. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. That's
Yes,
something
the western locality.
the West. Okay, and now how big do those get? Don't get to be super huge, right? Those are a little bit smaller of a boa, is it? Or
They can get up to 6 feet or so.
oh, 6 feet. Okay,
Yeah,
so but not your typical
manageable.
like yeah, not like your 8 to
No
10 feet.
retake.
Or whatever. Yeah, I actually have so I have two boas. They're central locale. So they're actually like with the blood um boas, and then the T positive albino stuff. Um, got here. Oh, do you
Yeah,
said
I was
reptiles.
laughing at that.
uh, yeah, and then those are pretty neat. I ended up getting a berry blood, which is like a little bit deeper red, a little bit more like intense red than the regular blood
Mhm.
boa, and then and it's pos het T positive albino, and then I have the male, which is a T positive albino, and it's pos het berry blood. So I didn't want to like get like super huge with the whole boa stuff and everything. I don't want to have it like overtaking anything, um, but for now it's just kind of an interesting little side thing. So
I
the
was laughing
genetic
at
edit,
that one too.
you did have a retake. So I see people have dirt on you here, Tim. No.
Yeah. Yeah, he actually has the retake that was mine.
Oh, okay. Well, luckily he's got the feeders to take care of that thing, right?
Yeah, yeah, she's got the appetite for it for sure.
Was it a regular retake? The regular set?
The purple albino that I
Oh,
had.
okay. So when was it you got rid of that one then?
I wanted to, man, was that? I don't even remember if it was hey Jacob, I know you're listening. Fill me in. Was that before COVID or was that after? I want to say it was like 2019.
Okay. think I remember you talking about a retic a while back, but I guess I completely forgot about it. Most part, we usually just talk about ball pythons out of the things and stuff, but yeah. One thing I was going to ask you too. So obviously, oh, here he's his message here.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember it was kind of cold outside, so it's probably like January, February 2020 or so.
Yeah. I personally wouldn't mind getting like a super dwarf. I think it'd be kind of neat to have. I just really don't have the room for or the stuff.
That's what that one is. It's a 62.5%.
Okay. So it's not too bad then.
Yeah. Yeah, she's manageable size. I want to say she's 6 or 7 years old now.
Okay.
Yeah, she's still nothing like a mainland.
Yeah, so that's something I wouldn't be able to get something like that. I mean, not that I don't technically have the room for it. I'm sure I can make the room, but it's just, it's me, my wife who doesn't really care to come down and help me with the stuff, and then my 2 daughters that are 10 and 4. So not much help they would be able to be with, helping with a huge snake, it's about 18, 20 feet long or whatever. So definitely cool though. I mean, they're really awesome snakes. So so as I asked then too, I know obviously you've gone to the Tinley shows and stuff. Have you gone to any other shows besides like the Tinley shows and stuff? I know you're probably closer to the St. Louis shows, aren't you? Probably.
Yeah, I've never been to any other NARBC show though.
No,
just Tinley. Yeah,
just Tinley.
Been to
local shows or?
Yeah, I've been to some local shows. But that's it.
Okay. Have you vended it all at any of the show, like any local shows or?
I vended the Repticon in Memphis, which it's actually in Mississippi. They call it the Memphis show.
Okay.
It's only like 5 miles or so from the city.
Okay. Is that something you do on a regular basis or?
That was 2015. That's been a long time.
That was last time you vended or?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
So now you pretty much just.
Usually when I'm producing stuff, like I'm sold out by the time like the big shows hit.
Sure.
Like I don't really have anything to take that would like make people stop at the table.
Sure.
Which is why that's why this year I split my season up.
Okay.
So
pretty much do MORPHMARKET then, right?
For shows. Huh?
You pretty much just do a MORPHMARKET then, right? MORPHMARKET, and then just kind of like show your stuff on Instagram, kind of, and kind of hit the link and message you, kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
That's cool. Do you? I mean, obviously, Instagram's not a selling platform. Do you ever post stuff on Instagram?
How you word things on there too.
Yeah. I mean, have you had people pretty much hit you up on some of the pictures you post just like kind of before they even get to MORPHMARKET? Like, hey, they see it on Instagram. Like, hey, I'd be interested in that if you put it up for sale, kind of thing.
Yeah. I'll probably make about 30% of what I sell on Instagram.
Really, that's cool. Do you ever use Facebook? I mean, I think you have a Facebook page.
I used to, but not anymore.
Facebook is just horrible. I think I've posted a few things on Facebook, but for the most part, it's really hard to. Their algorithm sucks so bad. Yeah. I think that's like the biggest part. I know, like on MJ's Trap Talk thing, he always asks people if you can cut out Instagram or Facebook, what would you cut off or cut out? And most people say they'd cut out Facebook because it sucks so bad.
Yeah,
he gets a few people who say Facebook, and he's like, "What?" He's like, it's funny because it's like, who the hell is just using Facebook over Instagram? It's just so easy. I mean, Instagram is catered for pictures, and that's pictures and like short videos, so it's like perfect, and you can still you can do live streams on there. You can do some like little collabs with people on Instagram and everything. It's pretty much a simplified version of YouTube. Especially with the pictures, you can have that whole accessibility that you don't really have on YouTube. Just to show us, it's really easy to just go, get your thing here, click, put it on Facebook or put it on Instagram. I mean, and as soon as you put it on there, as soon as I post something on Instagram, I don't have that. You have more followers than I do on Instagram. And as soon as I post something on Instagram, I usually have, 10 or so likes within the first couple minutes. And then it starts to, depending on how far or what I'm posting, it gets up to usually like I'm averaging like 50 to maybe 100 likes, depending. Except for when I got tagged in the eye, for some reason, everybody liked that one a lot more.
You didn't get it on film, you probably would have went viral.
Right. Probably, yeah. I was kind of nervous about posting it at first because I wasn't sure if people would be like, "Oh, this is why you shouldn't have reptiles and stuff." But I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna do it just for like for the most part on my Instagram. It's pretty much snake people that follow me. It's not really, and I didn't try to make it like go viral or anything.
Right.
which thankfully it didn't because I didn't want to get a bunch of backlash from
Mhm.
non-reptile people. Um, but then a couple of my family members who do follow me for some reason or another on Instagram who don't really care about my snakes saw it and then they're like, "Oh my God, Doug, are you okay? Like, what happened? So I
Mhm.
shouldn't have snakes and stuff like it's fine, But um, so um, kind of getting close to the end here, but I just wanted to ask a couple more things. With the state of the hobby and everything, what are your like thoughts on like where we're kind of at with everything? The state of the industry and the hobby and everything. Obviously, USARK's been doing a lot for us and everything. Fighting for
Yeah.
making sure stuff's not getting put on bans and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But besides that, just in general, like are you seeing any type of fluctuation on sales or anything like that, or like how are you seeing like the hobby where it's at now?
Um, right now, there's a slight dip right now, but it'll bounce back. It always does, and when it
Yeah.
does, it's always stronger.
Yeah. And I know too, like I have some stuff on Morph Market, not like anything super high end or anything. It's because I've gotten kind of the crap odds of some stuff, and when I have hit on good odds, it's like, oh, that's gonna be a holdback, and then I end up selling whatever,
Gotcha.
or trading stuff. Um, but but yeah, so I mean, there's been stuff that's been sitting there. It's like, dang, I thought that might have sold, but it's still sitting there, and you know, hopefully, it sells. Obviously, winter coming up, it might be a little bit harder to ship. So some of the stuff that even if it does sell, I might be holding on to it for a few
Yeah.
months until we can ship or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, like you said, it's kind of like a roller coaster, right? I mean, there was a couple of other times I've only been in since 2009. Um, and I definitely feel like this is like at least the third or fourth time people have said the hobby's gonna die and eventually it's gonna
Yeah.
peter out. Too many people have ball pythons. Too many people are making ball pythons.
I've heard
There's
that before so many times.
Yeah, there's not enough people to buy them then, which it definitely seems that you look at Morph Market, it seems like there's way too many snakes out there versus the people that are out there to buy them. Then all of a sudden, you get people who are getting out, and next thing you know, those they're not selling stuff, or people are holding different ones back, and next thing, or somebody wants to start a collection and they buy up. You know, for me, I don't know how some people do it, but I add a snake here and there, a couple of them a year or whatever. And
Yeah.
then I talk to somebody and they're like, yeah, just got in it like a year and a half ago. I'm like, oh, cool. How many do you have? Like, oh, we're up to 120. I'm like, holy shit. How the hell are you at 120? Obviously, like, people's financial situation is different. I can only limit myself in so much of what I can and can't, get in a year. But like, maybe obviously their situation is a little bit different and whatnot. And,
Yeah.
um, that's kind of like Miguel's always a prime example of that. I mean, obviously Miguel already had some successful stuff going on before ball pythons. He
Yeah.
was able to utilize that, from other ventures to put into the ball python stuff, and then just work on making a name for himself. And it's like and I'll admit I was a hater at one point in time about some stuff I wouldn't do or whatever, but it's like it is what it is. Dude earned what he put in. I mean, he's making awesome stuff because he put in to make
Yeah.
that awesome stuff. Some people aren't able to do that. You got to buy the hets, and you got to buy, single, het pieds and het clowns
Yeah.
and stuff.
Yeah. It's just one of those things. You get out what you put in, and
Yep.
he put in a lot, and he's getting out a lot now.
Yep. But just because you can't put in a lot right away doesn't mean you'll never get to that point, because
Right.
eventually you put the right stuff together, even if it's het to het stuff and you have no visuals, let's say for recessive stuff, you
Yeah.
start putting stuff together.
That's
You
that's how I started too.
Yeah,
Everything had all hets.
exactly. Exactly. I know, and the first stuff I bought, none of it was even het for anything. It was just a bumblebee, a Mojave, a lesser, a sugar. I paid $1,000 for a sugar female. That was it. There was nothing else about it. This is like back in like 2010, 2011.
Yeah, I bought a clown male from Garrick in I think early 2012.
Okay.
I think I went up there in like January of 2012,
Okay.
and that was 1200.
Sure.
Just regular clown.
Yep. Now, if you see a regular clown going for over 500, you're like, oh, it's got to be breeder size. So yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, hats and tails is back in the house. Another thing I was going to ask you too. Obviously, there's a lot of word about everything on the street with the whole genetics testing and everything.
Oh yeah,
They just announced that they have unlocked the yellow belly complex, and really interesting stuff. I don't. Did you get a chance to read the actual article with it yet?
I haven't yet.
So if I remember right, and I guess anybody wants to correct me if I'm wrong on anything, what I'm ready to say here is there's actually so there's the 2 strains of yellow belly that have been combined into like some ivories that have been tested. There's actually 2 different types of yellow bellies that are making the ivories. Now I'm not sure if they're referring to like the bling yellow bellies. I know that's technically a yellow belly combo, or I mean a morph that you can buy is like the bling yellow belly, and then there's the regular yellow belly. But I was talking to somebody else, and they said they thought it was actually the orange belly kind of thing, which is a technically yellow belly or whatever. But
have you ever seen the graphite ivory?
The graphite ivory. So no, I think that's what the person was talking about, was like the whole graphite ivory thing, and that would be
that was me, Doug.
That was you? Oh, you know what? See, damn it all, Tim. Okay.
I'll pull up a picture. I'll send it to you.
Okay. So yeah. I actually forgot that I was talking to you earlier today. But yeah, and then the cool thing is though, is like, whole gravel and Spectre and Spark, that's going to be a lot easier to be able to see how basically you take it your shed and send it in. So let's say you have a highway and it's like let's say you have a highway het clown and you breed it to, a yellow belly clown to try to make, or I'll just say, let's say gravel clown to make it easier. So you're like, okay, you can get highway clowns, you can get super gravel clowns, but anything that's not that is going to be either yellow belly or gravel. And then you're like, okay, this clown is either a yellow belly clown or a gravel clown. So instead of trying to figure out what it is, you can send your shed in. Like, oh nope, that's definitely a gravel clown, or that's definitely a yellow belly clown based on the genetic testing. Which
that would be awesome. Especially so you don't have stuff I'm producing right now.
Yeah. So basically, then you don't have to label your stuff on MORPHMARKET as clown, yellow belly, or gravel, or and reduce the price, because maybe the gravel version is a lot more, you can get a lot more for it versus the yellow belly version. That's just an example, but
yeah.
So yeah, we got yes, they said there are 2 lines of yellow belly. All right. I gotta find out a better way to show these pictures and stuff when I get them on here. Actually, on this one, I might be able to. Wonder if I can get that on here. Well, I'll just show it on here like this. So I'm gonna hold this up here. This is a graphite yellow belly, or ivory. Sorry, graphite ivory. So that's the yellow belly, orange belly, right? Is that what you were saying?
I think so.
So yeah, that's pretty interesting looking. Definitely not your typical ivory that you would see. So
let me make sure real quick. I'm not saying something that's wrong.
Is orange belly, but not same as the old orange belly, or a much nicer line. And then the genetic edit here said, just picked up a yellow belly gravel pied from Tim. Now I can prove him out with testing. So yeah. So find out then if he got a gravel pied from me or a yellow belly pied. So
I'm pretty sure it's gravel though.
All right.
And apparently there's something called the ultra ivory, which I think is the super orange belly,
Okay.
See if I can get a picture of it.
See, and that's something that when I'm not familiar with the genes like that, so super orange belly. And now I've heard of it. I just really haven't looked into it. So I really, this is kind of like new ground for me, because I haven't really.
All right, it's coming your way.
So this is the super orange belly, you said, basically?
Yeah, they call it like the ultra ivory. Almost has a highway look to it.
There you go. Yeah, that's pretty nice. So yeah, that'd be definitely be interesting to see how it goes with everything and the genetic testing. Can't wait till we get some more stuff in there. I have a few of them that I'd like to send in, but I kind of want to wait until they get a few more genes to unlock, because as of right now, there's a couple of genes that are at play that I'm not sure if if it's got that or not, and they haven't been unlocked yet by the genetic testing. But there's so much stuff that's going on now in the hobby that wasn't available to us, even 5 years ago. This whole genetic testing stuff it's like, wow, game changing, basically. The thing that they're working on with Clutch and stuff, and the cool thing with Clutch, more so than just being, it's not your typical put it on your phone and then scan the QR code and say that it ate or whatever, that you have a lock and all that stuff. You can actually set up your incubator and say, I just got this clutch of eggs from this pairing. You can literally go on my incubator if I want you to see it, because it's as a public thing. You can say, I want to be on your wait list for certain animals from this clutch, and then all that kind of stuff. There's really cool stuff. So I'll be posting that. Hopefully, I don't think I'll be able to get to it tonight, but hopefully tomorrow I'll be getting that posted, and then the rest of the Tinley stuff will be posted later on as well. So Forward Motion Reptiles way behind on the live. What the heck here? No, kind of got a real post on the pastel cypress het clown with my old pastel Enchi Desert Ghost, and they look equally as good as each other. So yeah, that's another one of those situations with the pastel, then kind of a pastel cypress. Cypress is one of those genes where I think it looks like a normal by itself. I can't. I mean, I'm sure if I had a normal and a cypress next to each other, I'd probably be able to maybe tell the difference, or hopefully can tell the difference, or maybe not. I don't know. But with some of those combos, at cypress is just like, wow, it's some really awesome stuff, especially with clown, obviously.
Yeah. Cypress clowns are pretty hot right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's making some really good stuff.
Okay. And that'd be on.
I think he recently made a cypress spot nose fire yellow belly clown.
Dang. Yeah.
Yeah, that thing was awesome.
Yeah. When it used to be too. So when in the earlier, 2010, 2011, 12 and all that, when people started putting too many genes in, it was just basically making white snakes. So people were like, oh, if you start putting in 4 or 5 genes in this stuff, you're just basically making a white snake anyways, or a very, very reduced snake. So it doesn't really pay to put that stuff together. Now we're finding that you can put 6 genes or even 7 genes on a snake, and it's looking amazing, because the pattern is getting whacked out. You just got to get those right things. People were putting basically all these morphs together that would end up reducing the pattern, where now we have so many other combos or other morphs out there that are bringing pattern back out.
Yeah.
And now it's just wow, you can throw in fire, yellow belly, leopard, chocolate, spot nose, clown stuff. And it's it's going to look awesome, So, we got Phil Snyder in the house here. Ledka. Elite Exotics also joining the fray here. So, yeah, as we get going in here too, I know we were going to kind of cut it about an hour and a half or so. Did you have anything else you wanted to bring up or mention anybody or that kind of good stuff?
I don't think so. Does anybody have any questions or anything?
Yeah, the floor is you guys out there in the chat world here. If you want to, ask Tim any questions or ask me any questions, both of us, all that kind of stuff. I do have some stuff from Tim that I haven't shown you guys yet, that I'll be showing in my whole collection thing. So there's some really nice stuff that I got from Tim. Actually, you guys might have seen some of it on Instagram. Maybe I just haven't done I basically have a bunch of unboxing stuff that I haven't done since the spring, and then there's some stuff from Tim in there, and among a few other things. But I'm definitely excited to show you guys all my my collection stuff. And speaking of doing the collection updates and stuff, Tim, I know you did one a handful of months back.
Yeah, back in April.
Yeah, April. Okay. Do you plan on doing another little update maybe on what you got going on? I know you've added a lot of stuff, I think, since that collection update.
I think so. I think I'm going to wait until after these next clutches hatch, because they have some pretty high potential. So I'd like to add that stuff in there. Okay. That's right now I got I'm pretty sure it's an Orange Dream Super Stripe Clown hatching right now.
Okay. I think you were mentioning that. Yep. So that might be pretty cool. So, yeah, when those are of the egg, I'm sure Tim will be posting those on
Yeah.
Instagram. So make sure you guys keep an eye out on his Instagram and all that stuff. Will's Hella Heat's asking Tim, how far away is the sapphire puzzle? Any closer to breeder size?
Well, I just made 3 butter sapphire head puzzles, which
Okay.
one's in Arizona now. I have one that I'm keeping. I have one other, but they're all still probably about 100, probably about 150 grams. So they all been eating great. Got that puzzle appetite.
Sounds
So
good.
we're still a couple years away. As far as I know, they're the only sapphire head puzzles because it's weird because not a lot of people are working with sapphire right now. I'm just waiting for that one big combo to make it
Yeah.
stick.
Right. He's trying to throw it into something, and yeah, hopefully you make a really neat looking combo of some sort. You gotta try doing it
So
before
I think,
Justin.
I think it'll be really cool, a puzzle, considering
Yeah.
all the pattern disruption that I see from sapphire.
Sure. Genetic Edit says, any advice for someone trying to figure out how to make a splash in the market and how to stand out a bit?
Probably take the route of JD Constriction, kind of pick a niche
Yeah.
and then run with it and work it to the best of your ability.
Yeah, that's some good one. That's a good one there. So I know a lot of people, kind of me included, like, I want to have everything. So so it's like, oh yeah, I got
Yeah,
this
me
and
too.
this and this and this. And it's
I'm bad
like,
about that.
the thing is depending on which, I feel like there's really not any, it's not really a wrong way to go about it. There's definitely better ways, or faster ways to get seen or get noticed and stuff like that. Um, the other thing is if you're able to afford getting into a combo that hasn't had a lot of its potential unlocked yet,
Right.
that's going to be like a big thing. If you get into clown, that's awesome. Clown's awesome. However,
Yeah.
everybody and their dog is working on clown.
Yeah.
Me and Tim included, and a lot of you guys probably watching are in, clown, because there's so many things you can do with clown, and you can make such interesting looking combos that are, you know, different from each other. You can do something that makes a clown look this way or make a clown look that way, and there's a lot to do with it. And then you can, start throwing like Desert Ghost in and make it look cleaner, and
And
you
speaking
can
of Desert Ghosts, what was that, 2018 when you started getting Desert Ghost?
2016 actually, yeah.
2016?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was before I moved. You're right. Yeah, I remember back then you could get like a Desert Ghost female for pretty cheap, like
Yeah.
300, 400, $500.
So I had gotten,
And we've seen prices consistently like increasing with it.
yeah, so I'd gotten a Super Pastel Desert Ghost female for 1,500 from Levance at that point
He
in
was pretty
time.
big too, right?
Yeah, she was like 500 or so grams.
Okay.
And then I also, like, while I was getting that one paid off, I said, "Hey, can I buy that the regular Desert Ghost, like a normal Desert Ghost female too?" He's like, "Yeah, yeah." And it was like $500 for a, and she was also like, she was from the same clutch or whatever. So, yeah, she was also like, in around the 400 or 500 gram range.
Yeah.
So it was like
You
500
get
gram.
those prices now.
Yeah, 500-gram Desert Ghost female in 2016 for $500.
Which I remember that unboxing for the Super Pastel Desert Ghost.
Yeah, that thing
Because it
that
wasn't long after that, I went and got Desert Ghost stuff too.
that was, again, when I got out of the whole thing, and I got out of the ball python stuff for a little while there. One of my biggest regrets was the Desert Ghost stuff when
Yeah.
that stuff went. I mean, I was happy because it was paying for bills when I wasn't able to work because of my, I was on short-term disability with my shoulder being messed up and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But so that was good. And plus I didn't know at the time I was even gonna get back into the reptiles, so it didn't bother me. But I kind of had it in the back of my mind. And then when I got back in, it's like, oh man, look where I could have been at. But woulda, coulda, shoulda. It is what it is. And I, move on and, just learn from what I did before and try to, make situation better now and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. So,
But yeah, going back to what you said earlier, man, I'm bad about like wanting everything. So I've
yeah.
never like I've never picked a niche like I was originally planning to.
Yeah,
Because
but
my
it is
original plan was just to work clown and work everything in the clown, but that didn't work out.
right. Well, you know what, and yeah, but what you said though is spot on. Like you find a little niche with a certain gene, and then try to work with that complex. With stuff. The thing is, you can add whatever to that,
Yeah.
but not only just add or work on a certain gene, but you really want to kind of like have like recessive as kind of your as your like foundation.
Hmm.
Don't be like, all right, I want to really work with pastel and then just like work everything into pastel. It's not gonna go really well. Not,
Yeah, not anymore.
just no lie. But like but even if you took something that is kind of established like pied or clown or stuff like that, you can still do stuff with it. So there's so many genes out there that are fresh and new that people still haven't done stuff with yet.
Yep.
There's constantly stuff coming out. Um, it's like this, genes come out of the woodwork in this hobby, and it's just
Yep.
the reason why there's an expanding list that are constant. There's stuff that's not even a morph market yet that I know people have in their collection. Um, and there's some really awesome stuff, and then there's some really subtle stuff, and that really subtle stuff could turn into be some amazing things with the right combos. So,
Right. Yeah, for sure.
so it's really something you really want to you kind of got to have an eye for it, or know somebody who has an eye for it to kind of help guide you and mentor you and all that kind of stuff. So,
Yep.
that's the thing too, and then being able to trust the person who's mentoring you. I've heard of some horror stories of people who are like, oh yeah, this guy was like mentoring me and helping me, and then all of a sudden like basically tried steering me away from stuff, even though they were working on it, and then they, I I can't think of the names specifically, but I've heard podcasts and I've heard people's like little horror stories about that, and it's like make sure who you talk to is somebody you can trust, because for every like 10 people who are awesome in this hobby, there's that one person who is trying to suck the life out of it,
Yeah.
you know, and out of the people, and it's really
Yeah.
unfortunate,
Yeah.
um
That's like, if somebody's looking for something like particular, and if I
yeah,
don't have it, I'll steer them towards, whoever I know that has it.
sure.
Don't I? Is that
uh,
I've heard like you? I've heard horror stories of people want something and they'll try to keep people on the hook to buy from them only.
uh
And
I've heard that before too.
yeah,
Try to steer you away from somebody else, or
yeah,
find out that somebody is really good and they're like, well, the whole time I heard it was like not a good person to buy from. It's like, well, that's because this other person had it and they wanted you to buy it from them instead. And it's like,
yeah.
yeah. And she puzzle hypo coming soon. Anything from that?
Yeah, I'm actually working on that this season.
Okay. Yeah, definitely gotta keep an eye on Tim's Morph Market and Instagram for sure. Those are big two main spots for people to check out your stuff, right? You're gonna be like your
Yeah,
all right.
yeah. I actually had horrible odds on one recent quest, but I made something pretty cool at the same time. So I paired Puzzle Het Hypo to Firefly Yellow Belly Het Puzzle, Possible Het Hypo.
Okay.
Didn't make a single puzzle. Had 5 eggs, but I did prove her Het Hypo.
Okay.
So I made a Firefly Yellow Belly Hypo Het Puzzle female.
Okay. Nice.
And yeah, so I thought about posting her on Morph Market at first, but can't bring myself to put her on there.
Will makes a valid point here. I've been Team Sapphire for a while. Need to get it before it gets just in tax. Stella. Ain't that the truth, huh?
Yeah, that happened with Redhead. I talked about that earlier.
Let me see here. We got a lot of comments here, so I'm just trying to skim through here. Hope to have some NCOD puzzles soon, at least cross my fingers. All right. And Phil says Grail stuff's his path.
That's nice stuff too.
Liberty Espresso. So this some is I haven't heard of the Liberty.
Yes, same here. Me either.
Or Espresso. Heard of Mocha.
Yeah.
Is it part of one of the coffee lines? So yeah, Brian Fontaine worked it as Espresso before it was called Liberty. So I think it should be Espresso, even though Liberty is a better name. That's something I have to look into. I haven't heard of that at all. So be interesting to see here. Male is pos at hypo, so be looking for female. So heads and tails. Maybe be able to be hooked up by Tim here later on once he gets some stuff out. Here's a nice question here from Kaiju Constrictors here. Do you use ultrasounds? And if so, would you recommend getting an ultrasound before professional racks?
I don't have an ultrasound. I planned on buying one for like the last 4 years.
Yep.
But every time I have the money for one, I find snakes that I want more.
That's the worst thing about buying anything when you're trying to buy snakes, and then you're like, I gotta buy a rack, or I gotta buy an ultrasound, or don't have to, but you want to buy an ultrasound or a rack or whatever. It's like, oh man, but I could buy a snake instead. And but obviously racks, you need to have that space. So it's kind of like, all right, you gotta either sacrifice not getting that snake you might want to get. The sucky thing is if you find that specific snake that you're like, oh man, I've been waiting on this one, and now there it is. But I was going to buy the rack, or I have money down on the rack already, and it's going to be done pretty soon. And I got to have it paid off by the time it ships out or whatever, picking up at a show. For the ultrasound machine, I have a little suggestion for you. Everybody who's listening here, if you're interested in getting an ultrasound machine, first of all, I know there's the Breeder Circle. They usually sell them. I think they have them for like $1,200, right? And those are like a little laptop type of ultrasound machine. But other way is to check your like Craigslist or your Facebook marketplaces, see if there's anything local, because sometimes you might get lucky and or like I have a friend who does scrapping. He basically goes and gets all the metal scrap stuff from like hospitals and clinics and stuff. And with that whole thing, he had done like an OBGYN clinic. They were getting rid of all their ultrasound machines, their old ones, because they were updating to new ultrasound machines. And a lot of them were junk. They just weren't working and whatever. He's like, this one is just missing a couple of buttons, but apparently it works. Do you want it? I said, yeah. I said, how much do you want for it? He's like, well, just take it. And if you ever decide to scrap it, just make sure you get it back to me so I can scrap it for metal and turn it in for, money or whatever. I'm like, okay. So I basically got mine for free, but it's a huge beast. Like, I'll move this thing here.
Oh, geez.
There it is. See that thing? That's a beast.
Yeah.
It's a massive ultrasound machine. Has this whole old school monitor. Look at that.
Yeah.
I'll have to feature that thing in a future video or whatever. It's actually in some of my older videos. But yeah, it's really, I don't know. It's helped me. I have a female Pastave clown that I got her from Ozzy, and she is year by year for him and the person who kind of loaned her from me while I was out of the hobby for a year or two. They both were getting eggs from her in like May. Well, I got her back, and May came and went. No, I couldn't. She's one of those girls. She's like a big, like, 3,000, 3,500 gram girl. And you go to palpate her, and it's like, she just tenses up so hard. You can't really palpate her. And like, okay, well, I ended up getting my ultrasound machine back from my buddy who bought it for me initially. He just wasn't using it. And he's like, you want it back? Let me know. I'll sell it back to you. I'm like, all right. So I guess I didn't do what that guy told me. I ended up selling it to the guy instead of giving it to him for scrapping. Oh, well, I got it back now. So, but anyways, I got it back, and I ultrasounded her in August, and I'm like, holy crap, there's follicles in her. Holy crap, she's at like 25 millimeters already. And then next thing I know, she was up to the 30 some millimeter range, and now she just laid a 9-egg clutch in October as compared to, July. So, I was about ready to stop pairing her. So if I wouldn't have used the ultrasound machine, I might not have kept on pairing her and stuff like that. And maybe I wouldn't have got as many viable eggs. So, yeah, so definitely check that kind of stuff out. If you can save money and get one for free or very little money, that's possibly an option. You might get lucky like I did, let me see here. There's a lot of comments now all of a sudden. So, all right, let's go with your forward motion. I think it's important to absolutely love what you work with. So that's a very, very key point there, forward motion reptiles. If you don't like the combo or you don't like the morph specifically,
that's good advice.
Whether it's a high-end dollar one or not, don't just work with it because it's worth a lot of money. Because if you don't care what the snake looks like when it comes out, and you're just like, I'm not gonna keep anything because I don't like the way it looks anyways, or I don't want to add it to my collection and stuff. It doesn't really pay to work with it because you're not gonna get you'll get money out of it, sure, but you're not gonna get the satisfaction of enjoying it coming out and seeing what kind of stuff you're producing with it. Not to say that you might not produce something really cool that you didn't change your mind about it. Like with, for example, if I would have got into chocolate, even though I didn't care for chocolate back then, I would have been like, oh man, there's some cool stuff in there actually. But there's always, there's other people always working with something. Like any gene that's out there, somebody's probably working with it. If nobody's working with it, you probably don't see it on MORPHMARKET. There's a reason why the original deserts aren't really on MORPHMARKET, and if they are, it's just as a pet, I'm not talking desert ghost for anybody who's new. If you're not sure what the desert is, feel free to look it up. All right. Yeah, thanks. SS Bronx, beast but functional. Yes, very functional. That ultrasound machine is a beast, though. It's a few hundred pounds, so it's not like your typical laptop you can buy from like the Breeder Circle or whatever. DNA reptiles. I made it. So join in. Better late than never. You're getting here on your DNA reptiles. It's awesome to see you on here. So DNA is one of the Wisconsin guys. See him at most of the shows that I've been. I get to see him at. Really, really, really cool stuff. He's been working with Hurricane as well there, Tim, just to give you a heads up. So,
nice.
Will's Hella Heat says, some people still charging out the ass for those caramels and deserts. So yeah, caramel albino is one of those other genes that people basically don't want to work with anymore. So there's just Ultramel pretty much took over with the caramel albino. So the fact that I think people are producing caramel albinos by accident because there was a lot of them that were in with like clowns and desert ghost stuff back in the day.
There was a lot of it carried with desert ghost.
Yeah.
I think from the bells.
Yep, because the bells worked it a lot and stuff, and that was kind of before a lot of people started having issues and stuff with it. So yeah, so really really getting a lot of people in here. Definitely maybe I'll have you on again here for sure in the future, Tim.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe after you've produced some of the stuff I know you've been looking at, hopefully make it and everything. Again, Tim's been working with a lot of multi-recessive projects and stuff like that. So definitely keep an eye out on his Instagram. In the link below or in the description below here, there's definitely his links. So you can go on there and click on all those links. You can get on his YouTube, his Instagram, Facebook, whether he's on it or not. Facebook is the link on there. And then MORPHMARKET. And just give you a heads up, his MORPHMARKET will say morphmarket.com/ I think Mid-South Morphs is still on there.
I need to try to change it.
But when you click on it, it does go to the Serpent Chamber page on MORPHMARKET, and you'll see all the stuff he has available. And then, look forward to having you again, and hopefully I'll see you at I believe you plan on going to the March Tinley show, right?
Yes. Yep.
So
are you going to the St. Louis show?
I know I will not be able to go to the St. Louis one, but I will definitely be at the March one as of right now anyways, unless something crazy happens. My daughter's hockey or something like that or whatever. But yeah, awesome time here. I had a lot of fun shooting the shit with you and all you guys in the chat and everything. Thanks a lot. Feel free to hit that subscribe button if you're down there. Hit that like button if you enjoyed it. Thumbs down, I guess, if you didn't enjoy it. Hopefully you did. Hopefully you got some enjoyment out of this. And then also, if you want to make sure you don't miss any other podcasts coming up, make sure you hit that bell notification so that way you're notified when I do go live. I have some more stuff planned. Again, I talked to a lot of people over at the Tinley show. Got some major interest from people wanting to be on and or willing to be on anyways. So thanks again, Tim. I'm gonna boot you off for a second, and I'm gonna just kind of do a little quick thing, and then just hang tight, and then I'll come back to you after I go off air. So
all right, man.
All right, thanks again, Tim. Tim Thompson from the Serpent Chamber, everybody. All right. Hope you guys had a lot of fun. I know I did. It's always fun talking snakes, obviously. So it's part of the reason why I want to do this whole podcast thing. If you guys are all interested in being on the podcast, I'm sorry if I didn't get to everybody's chat comments and stuff. I'll definitely be looking them over and everything. Planning on doing about an hour and a half, went hour and 50 minutes. So but I definitely appreciate all you guys. The fact that, you guys are hanging out the whole show and, interacting with us is super awesome. So I can't thank you guys enough for taking any time out of your night to spend with me and my guests this night, Tim Thompson from the Serpent Chamber. So hope to see you Friday, Doug, in Bullshit Chat. I should be able to this time because I don't think I have anything going on. The last few Fridays have been hectic. Yeah, definitely feel like I get tons more views with higher thumbs down counts. Yeah, I hear ya. So, but thanks again, guys. Appreciate it. And I hope to, 1 second here. DNA, but running the Garrix tomorrow to pick up some fire. Oh boy, DNA Reptilia. Make sure you check out DNA Reptilia. He's got some awesome stuff, some really cool pictures, first of all, and he's working with some really awesome combos as well. So, and he's going up to Garrix to pick up some fire stuff. So, I can only imagine because Garrett's been producing some amazing stuff lately. So thanks again for watching, everybody. Appreciate it. This is Doug Knacker, your host, DJ Knack. These have been Reptiles Remixed. We'll see you guys next time.